And we're back with another episode of the Lakers Fast Break podcast. It's a snack pack, everyone. It's Gerald Glassford coming right back at you here from Lakers Fast Break, Pop Culture Cosmos, where we cover the latest news and trends in pop culture each and every week, twice a week, wherever you get your podcasts. Also, as well, Inside Sports Fantasy Football. We just recorded just now a great episode covering the AFC and NFC championship games. Do you want to hear who we think will win? Who will be the G2 teams in the Super Bowl after this weekend? We share our thoughts on that. Plus, are there any underdogs you might be interested in wagering or hearing some advice on? That's up to you if you decide to. That's all you. We just provide information for entertainment only. But if you want to go ahead and check it out, it's Inside Sports Fantasy Football. Plus, also as well, Joe Soros here. He is the guy behind Oxide 247 at LakersBall.com. His company, Symblades with a Y.com, and also, of course, his new show, which I will be posting here on audio form here in just a little bit. It is the Lakers Nightcap with Joe Soro. Last night's edition had him and Sean Grice going at it, and bunch of great different topics there. So go ahead and check out whether it's on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts as well. Want to go ahead and give a big shout out to the Lakerholics crew of Jamie Sweet and Laker Tom. Still trying to get those two together for a sit down. Go ahead and discuss the Lakers, but also go ahead and check them out at Lakerholics.com. And a big shout out to our affiliate channels, Empire Jeff TV, Lakers in 5, Daniel Berry Sports Highlights, John Costa's Lakers Corner, and Clutch Talk, and also as well the John McCallion channel. And speaking of great channels, please go ahead and subscribe and like today. We need all the help we can get to that upper echelon of Lakers podcasts, and you can do that by following us on Facebook or subscribing today to get the latest notifications on when we go live, like tomorrow for our full coverage of the Lakers and the Bulls right here at the Lakers Fast Break podcast. Well, the Lakers, after last night's, I don't know, say debacle, because you know what, when you don't have LeBron in there, it didn't look like it was going to be good. And they showed some heart for 3.5 quarters before falling to the wayside against the Clippers. But the question is, and the question goes back and forth in regards to LeBron not being in the lineup last night. I know that our chat was going back and forth in regards to everything in regards to LeBron. You know, why didn't he play in last night's game instead of playing in Portland? Or, you know, LeBron is a major problem for this team, or LeBron is this, LeBron is that. Again, we've said over the course of many, many weeks and months now the concerns, issues, and benefits of having LeBron on this team. Because it's a full gamut of things. But with LeBron James getting closer and closer to a season where the Lakers are not going to meet his criteria for a championship club, will he and the Lakers, will LeBron James and the Lakers head into two different directions? And is that the best thing for both parties concerned? We discussed that today. In fact, a good man is here to start off that topic, plus any other topic, NBA or Laker related, you want to talk about, because the trade rumors still flying out there. It is the guy behind Lakers Nightcap with Joe Soro. After every Lakers game at 11 p.m., go ahead and check it out. It is Joe Soro. And Joe, great to have you here. Excellent insight on Inside Sports Fantasy Football just a minute ago. So hopefully people will check that out. But when it comes down to it, LeBron James and the Lakers, they seemed a few years ago like they were a match made in heaven. What's up, Eric? Hopefully all is well with you. But they seemed not too long ago like a match made in heaven. Now, with the fact that LeBron is 39 and can't give you what he once did, the expectations still upon him by everyone out there, and the fact is that the future he may be eyeing in a different direction, it just seems to me that this marriage made in heaven seems like no more.
Yeah, it was it was good. It was good when it first started. Then unfortunately, Anthony Davis got hurt in the playoffs in 2021, and panic set in. A
Mm.
combination of the fact that he got hurt and they were pretty much out of the running to go deep in the playoffs, and then other teams were making transactions that put a little concern in not only the front office but also in LeBron James. And it's a fine line between good decision and bad decision in the NBA. A lot of it is, it's a poker game. It is a poker game. Poker, good poker players. There is a skill there. There is a talent there, but there's also a little bit of luck that needs to go your way. And the luck for the Lakers is really was the fact that they were able to acquire, let's say, an undrafted player that became extremely productive. You acquired a role player that at the time was, kind of available, and you didn't know that he would be as valuable as he was. You drafted a player that was a fan favorite that had a lot of potential of uh, getting bigger for you. If you're wondering who I'm talking about, I'm not talking about Alex Caruso, KCP, Kuzma. This was a lot in a lot of ways the glue around LeBron and AD, and then you had Rondo, um, you had Dwight Howard, you had McGee, guys that kind of just filled in those little cracks, and everything went well. But what you did was you panicked when things didn't go your way, and you ended up making it worse in the end. And it's been very similar to the post situation after the Chris Paul veto. The Lakers were trying to recreate that same situation, but unfortunately they didn't have the right pieces to create it. And it's the same thing here. They've been trying to recreate it. They can't. It's too late. The rules of the game have changed to an even worse situation. And LeBron has gotten older. So it's just not in the cards. And for me, if I'm a general manager, if I'm a team, if I'm an executive trying to figure out what the next steps are, I think it would be very, very, very important to understand that this summer there needs to be something that changes. It's either you go out with a bang one more time, but you're going to need the talent this summer to put around LeBron's last year contract, should he pick it up, or you sit down with LeBron and say, "Look, LeBron, we want to go a different route. We want to build around AD. We would prefer you to opt out and go somewhere else."
Because it is $51 million. Eric, thank you for letting us and reminding us of the dollar amount.
Yeah, the jaded part of me says there's no effing way he's going to say no to 51 million. I don't
He
care.
has made more money than anyone ever in the NBA.
I'm going to have to see that to believe it. I have
Okay.
never seen anyone turn down 51 million, and I don't think we ever will. I don't care how rich he is. And by the way, LeBron has been known to be one of the more frugal people in and around the campfire. So I have I my view on it is it's 100% he's going to pick up that contract for money purposes only and go after it one more time. Now, if I'm the GM, uh, it's likely you're going to have to start preparing for life after LeBron after 2025. That's how I would go into the season. Now, if you can get lucky and it's that one in a billion where he says, "I want to go play with whoever or whatever," then you basically got ahead of your rebuild in a year early. LeBron is. It's very hard to explain the LeBron scenario without being kind of critical, because he has done a lot of positive for the Lakers. He brought them back to to where they belong, being an elite team, winning a championship, being a perennial contender when no one wanted to come here. So I appreciate that. But his leadership at this stage of the game is just not working. And I think it's time that this time we cannot let the time run out. We need to get ahead of this a little bit so that we don't have to rebuild for 5 years, waiting to suck for 5 years to get draft picks. And that's something that I think is extremely important on this next run. You do have Anthony Davis, and I'm hoping Anthony Davis doesn't ask to be traded, and I don't think he will. I call me naive, but I think there's an appreciation from AD that, hey, look, he's been here for what, 5 seasons almost, and he's already gotten 2 extensions. I think there's some loyalty there on his part. He has won a championship, so it's not like he has to win one. So I could see AD going, look, I'm going to stick around. I'll be the number one option, and let's go get some players. And then at that point, I feel like the Lakers they have somebody there that anybody would want to play with AD. AD is a great teammate. He's a great player. So I'm looking at this summer, hopefully, as the beginning of the next phase of the Lakers. But because of that contract, I just don't see LeBron turning down $51 million. Unless he's got somebody out there that's going to pay him that in the free agent market, which that's not going to happen either.
Once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. It is Joe Soro along with me, Gerald Glassford. Thanks again for watching and listening. It is truly appreciated. If you have not yet liked and subscribed, please do so to get the latest notifications on when we go live on the air with the latest Lakers Fast Break, or Lakers pregame, Lakers postgame, Lakers nightcap with Joe Soro, snack pack, what have you. Please go ahead and make sure you do that right away so you can be part of us here with the Lakers Fast Break community. But Joe, is there a possibility with that $51 million out there that he opts in, but works out and negotiates with Jeannie and Rob a trade demand so that he could be traded in the summer?
Well, if he does that, it's going to go to a team that can contend for a title.
Mm-hmm.
Who?
I'm just throwing that out there.
That's not going to happen either. You'd have to gut your team to match contracts for that $50 million. What team is going to trade for a LeBron James that is at 40 for 2 max contracts? Okay. There's 2 options here. 2 options. The delusion or the idiocy of a team and his camp that he's going to go play with family. Anyone who drafts, if his son puts his name into the draft, anyone who drafts him is a moron. They're only doing it for ticket sales, and it's a joke. The NBA becomes a joke at that point, a real joke. If he really wants to give up that money to go play with his son for 1 year, God bless him, go do it. It's either that or he's picking up that contract, playing 1 more year. That's it. I don't see any other scenario happening there. It would have to be a unique situation where he can go somewhere and still win a championship. But how do you do that with $51 million that you got to match?
What if he could go play with his friend or friends in Dallas? Because you theoretically could put LeBron James on that team with the money. It does work if you trade in a package with Hardaway, Williams, and Holmes with what they have left on their contracts. I'm just throwing that out there, my friend. Just throwing it out there. You know, Mark Cuban would be tantalized by that option.
I seriously doubt that the package of elephant dung for LeBron wouldn't be too appealing for the Lakers.
I didn't think it would be too appealing, but what if he asked for it? Because all the time I hear the question is, we need to trade LeBron. We need to trade LeBron. Well, LeBron will not be traded unless LeBron wants to be traded. So what if his good friend Kyrie just, talks into his ear one time too many, and asked him to go ahead and come by and swing to the Lone Star State.
I don't see it happening.
Okay.
They don't have anything that they could give the Lakers, and I think rather, uh, I would rather use that money to have a choice in who they want to bring in.
Okay. I'm just saying, just throwing out that, because the money does work if you look at it on the trade machine. So
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah,
that's
the new NBA contracts, TV contracts, apparently, from what I'm hearing, are going to be pretty big.
mhm.
I'm curious to see how that changes the salary cap situation. That plays a factor in the future of the Lakers as well. Is the salary cap going to go up 20 million, 10 million, 50 million? I don't know. But I would like the Lakers to get ahead of this. I would like them to get ahead of this because we want to make sure that we get at least 2 or 3 more years of a solid in his prime AD. And I believe that there's players out there that would want to come here. There's a way where we can possibly get some things together where they can.
Just to let Darren know and everybody else out there know, you did mention in the chat as far as a question, does LeBron have a no trade clause? He does not have a no
D'Angelo
trade
does.
clause. D'Angelo does, but that's because he has just a 1 year option,
Hmm.
and that's the reason why he has a no trade clause. But with LeBron at the time he signed his contract, that does not come with a no trade clause. But then again, he specifically, implies, or it's specifically implied that he does have a no trade clause, because if he doesn't want to be traded, the LA Lakers will not incur that kind of PR hit unless he does ask to be traded, Joe. So I don't think there's that worry, that fear that things are out of his control. One thing LeBron James has done, whether or not you agree or disagree, respect or disrespect, Joe, is the fact that he has always had, or at least for the major part of his NBA career, pretty much you could probably say essentially his entire NBA career, has had control over when and where he would be in his NBA career.
LeBron?
Outside of him being drafted in Cleveland, since he's been there, as far as where he wanted to go and what he wanted to do. He wanted to go to Miami. He made the decision. He wanted to go to the Lakers. He made that decision. If he wants to leave the Lakers, that will be his decision as
Well,
well.
there's a little bit of misfortune in LeBron's career, uh, due to due to his not his fault. What That wasn't his fault. I mean, he was drafted by a team that was close to his hometown, which everybody was pretty, they were pumping it up and excited, and hometown this, hometown that. Even though I still can't figure out how Akron and Cleveland are the same. I mean, that's like saying I'm going home, folks, to San Francisco, but I was born in Sacramento. I don't really get that. But he's the hometown kid, whatever the hell it is that they manifest in their head. Uh, and he played for an owner that was a little bit of an asshat. And I hate to say that. I know he's currently ill, but I mean, let's just call it what it is. He really wasn't I don't really. Gilbert was just I don't know, a typical billionaire owner that bought a team and just, kind of was whack to me. And LeBron knew where he was. He was in Cleveland, and no one wants to go to Cleveland willingly. And if you are going to go to Cleveland willingly, you're going to have to give them that player $240 million guaranteed, kind of like Deshaun Watson. That was a good one, Cleveland, by the way. That was a good investment. Um, and he started seeing after 7 years that no one's coming here. I've asked my boy Chris Bosh. He's like, I'm not going to Cleveland. Dwayne Wade's not leaving Miami for Cleveland. Not really a big fan of Dan Gilbert. Doesn't feel like there's any way they're going to be able to draft anybody with the, being in that kind of middle ground area where you can't really get a star player in the top 5 or something like that in the draft. So he made that decision to go to Miami because he didn't want to become the next KG. KG didn't win most of his career because he was loyal to Minnesota. And it's admirable to a degree, but if I had to make a choice, I would have done what LeBron did. I would have said, "Look, I got to win. I can't sit back and do all this. So if I'm a villain for leaving, f you. I have to go win." And he did. He went to Miami, won a couple championships, went back to Cleveland because he saw that he wasn't going to really be the man in Miami. There's only one guy in Miami that runs things, and that's the Godfather, Mr. Pat Riley. Went back to Cleveland because he saw there was talent there, and they were able to give him a third guy in Kevin Love, and he ended up winning a championship there. And the kind of the stick in the side for him was he had finally got the team he wanted, and then Durant decided to go to Golden State and probably cost him a couple of championships because of that. So then now he's back to square one. Now what the hell am I going to do? He could see that Kyrie didn't want to be there. He ended up leaving, and then he just saw the dominoes fall. He's like, look, I got to go do something else now. I might as well go to LA. I'm the king. I'm going to be wearing purple and gold. My brand's going to go up, and I could do movies and whatever, but I'm still wanting to, win. And of course, he ended up doing that too. And then now it's just one of those things where the last bad decision he made, or in terms of supporting certain transactions, it was an unknown suicide to the championships. If he had not meddled in it, this is reported. I don't know for sure if he did, but reportedly he was in support of getting a third star in there, and Rob obliged. That ended up with what it looks like was the death kill for any other championships from here on out. And now LeBron's going to retire here in the next year or two as a guy that had as good of a career as you could have, scoring champion, top 5 in all categories almost and everything, or even more. But there was some years there that I think he probably should have done better. But again, what can you do? There's nothing you can do about it now.
Once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. It is Joe Soro along with me, Joe Glassford. Thanks again for watching, listening. Truly appreciated. Our chat's going strong. The best chat room that's out there for the Lakers. It is, of course, the Lakers Fast Break. Don't forget, tomorrow we've got our full wall-to-wall coverage of game preview. Of course, the wonderful simulcast, which has been a big hit with our audience on both the playback and YouTube and Facebook channels. Go ahead for that as we watch the Lakers and the Chicago Bulls. Plus also, of course, the post game, and you top off the end of your night with a nightcap with Joe Soro on the Lakers Fast Break channels. But I will ask you this, Joe, and we'll go ahead and maybe discuss some other things going on in the NBA. I want to hear your thoughts on that. But before we do, LeBron James, again, the future with him and the Lakers, with one, I guess, seemingly at one time was going to be like he would retire a Laker. I do not think at this point in time it's 100% sure that will happen, Joe.
If he's smart, he would. How many more years do you want to play? What else do you have to prove? Your son isn't good enough to play in the NBA. If somebody drafts him so you can go play, you're going to turn down $51 million to take the minimum to go play with your son who can't play in the NBA. I'm going to have to see that, folks. I'm having a hard time registering that whole scenario, that how an NBA team would waste a draft pick and even pick him up as a free agent when he's not ready. I think it would be doing him a disservice. I would stay at USC for 3 years at least,
I agree.
maybe 4, and try and see if you can get better and see if he actually has a shot. I think that's the best possible way for you to be successful in that. But if he ends up leaving, then it just reiterates, and this is the part that I feel somewhat bad about, and I feel bad because LeBron brought back the Lakers. They were get it. They looked like the New York Knicks there for about 4 years. No one wanted to play in LA. They would come and they would visit. And they'd be like, "Oh, this place is whack. I'm out." He changed that and he made them relevant again. So again, LeBron, I thank you for that. But I don't like, and I've never really liked LeBron's leadership skills as a whole. I think he's soft. I think he's the typical millennial type mindset guy. He's a passive aggressive guy. I don't get along typically with passive aggressive people, and uh, and I think that's left a lot of championships from his hands because of that. I like killers. I like players who want to rip your throat out, rip your heart out. Might be getting too old to see that nowadays, but it's hard to turn off. I want killers. I want beasts. I want someone who's focused on the job. I want Denzel Washington in The Equalizer. That's what I want. And if Denzel can do it in his 60s, in this era of weenies and crybabies, I'd like to think that an athlete can still carry that. Of course, you've got a couple in football, which is good, but in basketball, I don't know of any players that are really the guys that I look at. And I'm just like, damn, that guy just, whew, that guy just makes. I just want to watch this guy play, just destroy people. They're either emos like Jokic, kind of little flopping, whining guys like Embiid, or you got the passive aggressive guy like LeBron. Um, AD sometimes shows it. I wish he showed it all the time. But again, it's just I don't know. I'm not into what these guys do. In terms of showing that they really really want it.
It is going to be something that we have to think about, though, because there will be, I'm sure, the passive aggressiveness, the same kind of rhetoric to the press, the inferences, the rumors, the innuendo, the insiders who supposedly have all the knowledge on it. I have a feeling before it gets definitively done or decided on LeBron's future that there will be some rhetoric going around that will probably irritate both you and I at the same time.
Well, the thing is, I don't trust Jeannie and Rob to make the right call. They're going to try to retain him. They're going to kiss his ass. Mind you, Jeannie's the same person who put "Stay 12" on a billboard for Dwight Howard. I mean, I can't think of a more pathetic campaign program than that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really bad. And I don't it's hard because it's so many things. They've done some good things, but at the heart of them, like at the heart, I'm just not a fan. There's too much fakeness. Rob Pelinka, what was the first thing he did when we heard him talk? And we were on him like flies on you know what? We're like, what? Manos from above? What the hell does that mean? You're just signing KCP. You're not signing Jesus Christ. Like, where is that mindset? Like, people will show you who they are really quickly if you pay attention. Rob Pelinka with his Manos from above. Darvin Ham, his first media day rhetoric. He sounded like a cliche machine. I could have just gotten a program on the computer, pressed every cliche on that program, and that would have been Darvin Ham. Just put Darvin Ham's voice on there. It would have been exactly the same. And then you have things like, you're watching the backstage Lakers, and these guys are showing Torian Prince around like he's Shaq. Like, what are you doing? Why are you taking Torian Prince around, showing him all the trophies? Like, what's Torian Prince going to do? Why are you trying to convince him about what the Laker legacy is? It's just, I don't know, it's just stupid. Like, there's a difference, man, isn't there? bringing in LeBron, that's one thing. You bringing in AD, that's another. What the hell, they do the same thing, and they're just boring. They're just boring. I'm just not a fan of. I've slowly not become a fan because they've kind of showed their true colors, and we've talked about the off the court stuff that they've done that we scratched our heads on. A lot of times people will tell you again, they will tell you who they are when it matters, and in the end, I don't know. I don't see. I'm not really impressed. I'm not impressed with anybody in this organization, really, in terms of the executives and the coaching.
So you don't think anything will come about extensively for the trade deadline for the Los Angeles Lakers? You don't think there's a magic elixir or a magic fix per se that will appease the fans out there, appease LeBron, and put the Lakers back into the same kind of trajectory that they had this time. Well, not this time, but you know what I mean. They had late last season.
Unfortunately, no, because there is a hard cap situation. I would have said, "Hey, man, if there's a way they could," and they don't have enough capital. They don't have enough draft capital to move anything around. They could find a third team to help. I don't know how much they could help, though. I would say in the past, maybe they could have gone after Donovan Mitchell and just bit the bullet on money, but they can't now. They can't get hard. Once you get hard cap, you can't. It's not feasible. And if they were to make that trade and Cleveland was willing to do it, you'd have to gut the team. And at that point, what's the point? You're just going to go back to what you were doing before, trying to get that third star, and then you'll have no depth. The Lakers are likely toast. If they're going to make a deal, it's going to be something minimal at this point. Maybe they trade Rui and I don't know, JHS for someone that might be somewhat serviceable. I don't know. That's the only way I can see anything like that happening.
But that's not going to move the needle enough.
No. It's going to likely be a lateral move. And at that point, I wouldn't move Rui and I wouldn't move JHS. I think as bad of a draft pick that was, I think you still need to wait a little bit on that one. You don't want to completely blow it up unless you're getting someone who's gonna make a difference and you use him as an asset. And likely what it would be is it would have to be a player that made sense, and they asked for Rui, JHS, and a first round pick, and then maybe you get a guy that might be close to a third type player, but I don't even know who that would be. I really don't. I don't see anybody of any relevance that's available right now. The only way the Lakers get that player would be maybe someone demanding a trade there, but even then, it's likely going to be somebody that's getting paid $30-40 million. Lakers can't afford that either.
I mean, you're talking about Bruce Brown. Really, Bruce Brown does not change the needle enough for the Lakers.
Bruce Brown is
a 12-point a game player.
He is Eric Dampier of 2024. Okay. He played his head off last year to get his contract, and he got it. Went to Indiana, and by the way, Indiana's not a slouch. They got a pretty darn good team. And what happened? 3 months later, he gets traded. I don't like contract players, and that's what Bruce Brown is. He won't do jack squat for the Lakers. He got his money, and his enthusiasm went down to the crapper. He's nothing like he was in Denver last year.
I will ask you, though, Kearse brought it up. He's asking, is there any trade out there that can dynamically change the Lakers? With what assets, Kearse, the Lakers have? No. The answer is no. The Lakers just do not have enough assets to dynamically change their fortunes in one way or another. It just, until the offseason hits, Lakers do get through the fact that it's another season that's unfolded. The Lakers do have 2 additional first round draft picks that they are able to go ahead and utilize in a trade. Plus some money may be freed up by that time. Plus you never know with LeBron as far as whether or not he stays or goes and all that is concerned. But yeah, right now, the big player, the big name coming in that can dynamically change the team, Joe, that's not happening by this trade deadline.
No, and it probably won't happen this summer. I don't know who's really available that would matter
It would
this
have to
summer.
be someone that wants to leave,
Right,
someone happy.
but then what do you do when you have D'Angelo is a free agent? What are you going to do? Sign him and trade him? Like I don't see anybody doing anything like that. I think D'Angelo's going to want to get a multi-year deal this summer, and if he continues to play the way he's playing, he'll get it. The Ruiz and the Austin Reeves are likely going to be the only players that have enough money to where you could trade those guys for someone. But going back again to how much of an effect drafting JHS was and how much that affects not being able to make deals. So by not drafting someone who was going to be a contributor, and you can find contributors in the teens, especially now in the NBA now. The fact that you basically got at this moment someone who can't contribute anything puts you back even more in trying to make a deal. Because if you get Triple J and he's playing the way he's playing in Miami, which again, that's debatable too. Maybe he's playing that way because Miami knows how to coach. Miami knows how to use him the right way. If he had been drafted by the Lakers, maybe he would have sucked too. We don't know that. But let's just say he would. Let's say he would have played well. So Triple J being as effective as he is in Miami, in LA, now when you're talking about trading Austin and Rui for maybe a third star or somebody who could be like a 3A, 3B with D'Angelo, now the dynamics change. It's so many different little things, and it's very hard. I get it. It's very hard to pay attention to all this, and you've got agents you got to pay attention to. You have a business you got to run. You got to worry about the lights. You got to worry about money. You got to worry about the owner. You got to worry about the coaching staff. You got to worry about egos. I totally get the stuff that we don't see, the stuff that we don't pay attention to. And maybe I do because I'm a businessman and I know the branches. I know how it all goes out a little bit. It's not as easy. Okay, I don't just get up and go work and then come home. No, I got to make sure that I have an occupancy form done for my place. I have to make sure the stupid fire extinguisher is correct. I have to make sure that there's a panel on one of the panels that apparently wasn't there before. Like, no one sees that stuff. I don't come home and talk to my wife and say, oh, I have to go get a fire extinguisher and I have to go do this. You don't do that at the press conferences and say, oh, I had to talk to the secretary who was having a nervous breakdown. You don't hear that, but they do deal with that stuff on top of all this. So with that, I'm not giving them an excuse, but this is what business is about, regardless if it's basketball or whatever. And with that, you're going to have to go through the muck and still try to make the right calls. And it's just unfortunate that they just haven't made the right calls the last few years. It's just it's coming to a head here, and at some point you have to cut your losses and start over.
Once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. It is Joe Soro of course, as Ox 1947. Go ahead and check out Ox 1947 each and every time out at LakersBall.com. Plus, also as well, he has a new show that you check out after the Lakers games. It is topping off the end of your night with the Lakers Nightcap with Joe Soro at 11 p.m. Pacific after the Lakers games. Joe, if that's the case, and we must go ahead and continue the talk about as far as the Lakers, if that's concerned. Obviously, Alan said, well, there's still the Ham issue. And yeah, we're not going to ignore, and we're never going to ignore the Ham issue. But my gosh, when we've told everyone out there for how many consecutive days, Joe, that Ham is just not going to be the long-term answer for this team, or should not be the long-term answer for this team, or the short-term answer as far as coaching for this team. I mean, it's like beating a dead horse. How many times do we need to tell you before you realize we are with you? We do not appreciate or like or think that Darvin Ham is going to get us, even with a team around him to where we want to go. You're on mute.
Sorry about that. I
Oh, no
want to
worries.
thank Darren. Darren, I'm glad we're a stressor or relief stressor for you. That actually plays a big part on why I continue to do this. As much as I love Gerald, that plays a big part too. Um, it really does. I'm not being
The
condescending.
feedback we get from you guys, and
Yeah, I'm not
it's not
patronizing.
always you hate us and you hate what we think. So
I'm not. Yeah, I'm not patronizing you. I'm not. You know, not trying to get all gushy here, but I've thought about that. I've actually thought about, hey man, I'm not feeling it today. I'm not feeling it tomorrow. But there's been a couple comments that we've gotten where we've heard that, Darren, and it's a now there's a responsibility, and we're glad that we can be that stress reliever because it does help venting. It does help venting a little when we get on here, and it's fun. It's fun in the end. But I I kind of I kind of wish now that Milwaukee did it, and I had a little inkling of it in my head with the Lakers a few weeks ago, and Doc Rivers came to my head, but I didn't think about it too much. But I'll be honest, if 2 weeks ago the Lakers had fired Darvin Ham and hired Doc Rivers, I actually would not have been against that because Doc Rivers is a better coach than Darvin Ham, and he's a better coach than Griffin up in Milwaukee. So they upgraded. They upgraded the coaching. Doc Rivers has his issues. I know had a lot of struggles in closeout games and closeout series, but he's still better than those two. So if the game is about getting the best possible players and the best possible coaches, Milwaukee just did themselves a favor. And unfortunately, the Lakers are stuck with someone who's not likely going to be able to do what is necessary. The first question, even before LeBron will be once the season's over, is are they going to fire Darvin Ham? That's the one I'm going to be looking at first.
because the Lakers will not meet expectations, not just by internally, but externally from the fan base at large. I don't think the odds are very high on that happening, that there will be a miraculous turnaround one more time, that the Lakers will somehow find a way to go ahead and find themselves in the conference championships once again, or even higher this time around. I don't think that lightning will strike twice this time around, as it appears right now, Joe.
No, it won't because this time the Lakers won't come out of nowhere. They came out of nowhere last year in the playoffs. I don't think anyone expected them to play as well as they did, but the Memphis Grizzlies and the Golden State Warriors were the perfect opponents for them at that moment. They both were having issues internally, and the Lakers were able to steal game one in both series and then ride the home court from there. I'm not downgrading the effort and the execution on that. Again, the Lakers still did very well, and they should be complimented on it. But the second they played a team that was structured, that was focused, that didn't make stupid mistakes, they got their ass whooped in 4 games. And this team can't get whooped in the playoffs. A first round defeat or a finals defeat is the same defeat. The Lakers are not in an era right now where they lose. They have to win championships, but just too many bad decisions. And the last bad decision was hiring Darvin Ham as the coach. They did not do an extensive search. They did not. They just didn't. And I don't till this day know what was it that he did that made them think that he was going to be good. Oh, we're going to make Russell Westbrook play better. I mean, is that really what it was? Why the hell would you hire someone to try to make Russell Westbrook play better when Russell Westbrook is ready to go? He's not a star anymore. He's a bench player. He doesn't even play the fourth quarters because he makes bad decisions and can't shoot when it matters. So what? What was the thinking there? Was it really that? I heard that. Did you think he was going to be more real with the players? Is that what it was? He could identify with them? I
I
don't give.
noticed there was some flack though. I noticed there was some flack, after the Clippers game last night that, some of the Clippers players were, or at least one Clippers player was talking about how uh, bad the Lakers fans were towards Russell Westbrook during his time in LA. And I'm just like thinking to myself, you may be right. We may have been a little bit rough, but did you not see the performance from Russell Westbrook that earned the ire of us as Lakers fans?
First of all, if you're talking about the jackholes cussing at him, messing with his family in the stands,
That's wrong.
screw them and everything they're about. They deserve to be in a trash can. Okay, seriously, these people who go stalk the Taylor Swifts and all this stuff, like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Go away. This is why I don't like personal with business. I don't like it. I don't want to know about what these people are doing off the sport. I don't want it. I don't want to know about it. I don't care. I don't care. So I'm going to have the same venom towards those people who are sitting up 10 rows up in the stadium because they think they're safe, just like they do on social media. And then, oh, you're a tough guy. Oh, you're yelling back down on a guy. So what? So he can smack you in the face, then you sue him like a coward? That's what they're probably waiting to do, right? Those guys deserve the trash. However, my criticism, your criticism, normal people, normal Laker fans' criticism is his stupid decision making on the court and his inability to hit a layup. Who's going to argue? Russell Westbrook, if he's standing right in front of me, yapping about that, he's going to look like a clown. I'm like, dude, you keep missing layups. What's your deal? What's he going to say? Screw you. You don't know how hard it is. I'm like, you're like one of the greatest athletes that's ever played in the NBA. You've been doing this for a while. I'd like to think that you could at least still hit some layups. And how about this? How about you don't shoot threes at the worst possible time? This is about basketball. This is not about what you did 10 years ago also, and about what's going on at the crib or whatever dress you're putting on. I'm talking about basketball. You're not making layups, and you're taking shots that are not smart. That you can ride until the end of time, and I'll support it because that's what I'm spending 2.5 hours, 3 hours of my time watching your ass play, and you're not even doing the basic fundamentals, and you're getting paid $40 million? Yes, that no one can argue against. Don't go in the stands and start calling them names and messing with people around like that. That's common sense. But on the basketball court, when you screw up and you're making bad decisions, if you're not going to be fundamentally sound, you're not going to do the basics, go retire. Go retire and go somewhere else. You're a professional basketball player. You're getting paid $40 million. You have to do that if you're making that kind of money. Because now I'm sitting here going, how the hell are we going to improve on this? We can't. We don't have enough money to go find somebody that can hit a layup because this jerk is making $48 million. You see the difference?
And I appreciate you last night calling me out during the nightcap in regards to saying that, about my thoughts and feelings on Russell Westbrook, the player, when he was traded. I'm just going to say it to you again. It's something where the advantage of having the Lakers fast break over the course of now almost 5 years, it's been very advantageous because you can say, well, I was saying this all along. I was saying this all along. Well, it's right there for the internet to see. You could just go back in the archives and you could see I was saying it all along. It was just something that to me was pretty glaring. And you know what? When things like that happen, and when you have a player that is just so dynamic as far as one way or the other, whether you just cannot stand them on your team or not, it just makes it so hard to continue as far as a volatile fan base. It just becomes a very negative situation. And ultimately, it did for Russell Westbrook. And now you can tell he just cannot stand LeBron. He cannot stand anything Lakers. And it's just best for all parties at this point in time where they're at.
When you have an opponent that doesn't like you, that's normal too. That's how
Yeah.
it should be.
Yes, how it should be.
Russell
Absolutely.
Westbrook will do nothing for the Clippers this year. The Clippers will not win squat this year. So in the end, what we've said is gonna happen is gonna happen. And Russell Westbrook had a time. He had a time to make a difference. Unfortunately, even when he was in his prime, he still alienated Kevin Durant enough to leave. That's Russell Westbrook. That's not me. That's not me being a jerk. I'm not like one of those a-holes that sent death threats to Tyler Bass. Okay, Tyler Bass misses a kick. You criticize him for missing the kick. You go home after that. You don't go after his family. You don't go on Twitter like a little bitch and start yapping because you're protected behind your little computer. Okay, so I'm talking about the court, and we've talked about how every NBA player has made it in life. They're all rich. They made it to the show. They've made it in life. But now that we set that aside, it's about winning now. And we can criticize Russell Westbrook for not winning. And the reason why we can is because he's done things that have cost him winning. He can be mad. He can be defensive. You know, naturally, that's people get defensive even when they know it's the truth. Matter of fact, they get more defensive when they know it's the truth. But I can hold my head up high and say, hey, man, I'm just pointing out what you did. This is your profession, and you're not coming through. This game, for me, is not about how much money you make. I couldn't care less. Me, I'm spending 3 hours watching this game, 2.5 to 3 hours, and then I'm doing a show for 2 hours. I'm spending 5 hours and maybe another hour prepping, 6 hours of my life because of you. Hell yeah. I want you to win. And if you don't, because you're out watching the Packers play, or you decide to take a game off because, I don't know, your ankle hurts and you could have maybe taken a lesser game off versus playing a good team. Now, what do you want me to say? What do you want me to say? I even gave you scenarios where I'd be like, I would understand if you were up 15 games instead of playing 500 ball. But you're not. You needed this win. So it's like every time you bring in some kind of logic and then you see something positive, it's like you see two negatives. So now you're stuck. I'm sitting here. I've looked at some of the shows that we've done, and I'm like, am I contradicting myself? Am I appreciating and then at the same time criticizing? Like, I've literally watched some of the shows, even though it's very hard for me to watch myself on the show. I usually don't. But there have been a couple of times where I'm trying to figure out, like, what happened here? Well, what's happening is both things are happening. I thank LeBron for coming because he saved the Lakers from being garbage. But at the same time, his leadership skills in overall is not the leadership I like. Too passive aggressive. I don't like it. I don't like it, and I don't identify with it. So
and I can say I blame you.
That's kind of where we're at. We're in this constant. We are in our heads what our team record is. It's this. It's in the middle. It's balanced. It's crap and less crap. It's not good or bad. It's like less crap, more crap. That's it.
So we have the Lakers playing tomorrow in the final game of a large stretch of home games over the course of the month of January against the Chicago Bulls. And we reflect now, Joe, on the other side. we were so amped. And I got to admit, I was a little bit excited that the Lakers had the prospects of what could have been a really, really good month with a lot of home teams, home games with some teams that were not the best out there in the NBA. A lot of games against patsies that the Lakers could have taken advantage of. And yet we find ourselves almost that month later staring down that Grammy trip coming up here in the not too distant future with the fact that we just didn't get the job done. We're still under 500. And right now, it doesn't look good for us climbing up in the standings at this point in time, Joe.
No, it doesn't. And until it happens, until we're surprised, I'm gonna go with what they've been doing. And they are a mediocre team uh, that plays mediocre basketball. And when they play, when it matters, when they're in scenarios where it matters, they fold, with or without LeBron. We said at the beginning of the year, if AD is healthy, if LeBron is playing without any major injuries, this team is going to win. We were wrong. We said that if D'Angelo can be that third guy, the Lakers have a chance to get some consistency. We got that the last few weeks. Still suck. So we're wrong. We're on planet delusional. I think the popular sportscaster Adam Shine uses that word. I always hear it in the morning when I'm driving. Planet delusional. Thought it was a good line. We were indirectly on planet delusional that we thought that this team would still play well if LeBron is available and AD is available and we had a third guy that was consistent. We got all that this year and they still suck. So it's over at this point. I've run out of excuses. I've run out of scenarios. What is it? We need 5 guys to be all-stars now? That's not going to happen. Rui's not an all-star. Austin Reeves not an all-star. So, and there's no player out there that's going to be brought in that's going to make a difference because the system won't allow you to anymore. And that's the frustration with this. That's the frustration with everything in the NBA at this point. The system and these players constantly every year. And again, in the end, it doesn't matter, right? The quality of the game and all that, it's all just rhetoric because the TV contracts keep going up. The salary cap keeps going up. People still watch football. They don't care if they put flags on these guys. People are still going to watch it. So we're asked out. We're going to sit here and complain and still watch. They don't care. And that's where we're at.
Once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. It is Joe Soro along with me, Joe Glassford. This is a snack pack, everyone. Thanks so much again for joining us. But before we head on out, thought we'd talk a little bit about the NBA. Tonight, my friend, it's so funny because I love it when these players, such as Victor Wembanyama, has a highlight reel dunk, stares Chet Holmgren in the face as far as this much ballyhooed meeting tonight between the 2 top candidates for the Rookie of the Year. Yet everybody realizes that, hey, Victor, your team is down by 20 something. I don't get sometimes when sometimes it's about when you do things. And when it comes to Victor and his future, it's astronomical. But Chet Holmgren is going to be the Rookie of the Year because his team is so much more advanced. Your thoughts on the Rookie of the Year matchup tonight with Victor versus Chet Holmgren? I do not think it's going to be the next Bird Magic as I heard on ESPN radio today.
I'm sorry I think Victor's going to be a mega star. His game is amazing. His physical gifts are amazing. I think he's great. Look at Chet Holmgren. He looks like an anorexic homeless guy with some basketball skill. And to me, I know that's kind of going off topic here in terms of basketball, but I'm like, I mean, really? Like, dude, shave your face and like look professional. Be about it too a little bit. These guys look like they live in a dumpster sometimes with their hair and their look. How are you going to appeal to a general audience like this? I don't know. I might be vain in that respect, but it's not. I don't know. It's sloppy. It looks sloppy. And does anybody really care about San Antonio and Oklahoma City if they're good? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see how
In
that turns
Oklahoma
out.
City, they do. I mean, my God, they're second place in the Western Conference, right behind Minnesota Timberwolves.
I don't know. I'm gonna have to wait and see how that develops. We've seen the Oklahoma City thing before, and they ended up screwing that up. So we'll see if Presti and that group will be able to retain the talent that they are developing here. As far as the Spurs,
Or actually, I should say Oklahoma City is now tied with Minnesota for the top of the Western Conference.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, if Oklahoma City's smart, I would. They're the ones that need to go get a Caruso. They are a Caruso player away from being very scary.
They've got
And
100 draft picks, man, to do
yeah,
it.
you have that. You have the draft capital to do it. I would say if I'm Presti, I go after it right now. Go after right now. You might get lucky if Jamal Murray is the kind of guy that gets hurt. So if that guy busts a knee in the second round of the playoffs, now things open up. Minnesota, you still have Gobert at center, and he struggles in the playoffs. So if you want to take a chance there, and of course the East is the East. I don't trust the East, and you know that. I won't. I'll never trust the East again. I ran out of that last year. So if I'm Oklahoma City, I would go after it now.
So funny because you could just go, as I said before, Oklahoma City has such a great advantage because you could literally go on the phone, as Sam Presti can, to any GM in the league and say, which of my young guys do you want? How many draft picks do you want? If he could literally go and get almost any player that he wanted at this point in time.
Yeah. And Oklahoma City was the team I was thinking about with AD before the scenario turned into what it is now. I was thinking, man, if the Lakers wanted to really rebuild quick.
You were talking about last year before
absolutely.
Chet Holmgren.
Yeah. And to me, let's say AD demands a trade if LeBron leaves. I'm calling Presti. I'm like, Presti, I don't need Chet Holmgren. I don't need Shea, and I don't need the stars that you have. Send us the draft picks.
Take Holmgren.
I don't think they'd give up Holmgren.
Okay.
So I'm not going to even bother with that.
Okay.
Let's just say, look, we're going to give you a championship right now. Give us 7 first-round picks.
I'd do it.
Now, the problem with that is Rob Pelinka going to be the guy that drafts?
That'd be the issue. Yes.
Now you got to go
7 JHSs. 7 JHSs.
If you got to gut the team, you got to go get Bob Myers and let him draft. Are they going to do that?
Well, that's what I said yesterday, and I went with Magic and, talking about when he moved up with the buses. And I'm like, I just would go with somebody experienced. So I would stop the nepotism. I would stop it and just go out to the experts and just get someone who has already a great resume. I mean, Bob Myers is out there. That guy he built the dynasty for the Golden State Warriors. He may not be your cup of tea. He may not even be my cup of tea, but still, just the numbers there speak for itself as far as if you're going to bring someone else in that might do the job better than Rob Pelinka at this point in time. But again, these are just what if scenarios in case they decide to go in a different fashion. And I think that's the point. I think that's that thinking, Joe, that mindset for the Lakers has to start creeping in is, what if we want to go in a different direction? Because we don't have a team that can compete at the top of the Western Conference right now.
Well, if you need evidence, you're talking about a gentleman who drafted Steph Curry 7th, drafted Klay Thompson 11, and got Draymond Green in the second round, and produced 3 Hall of Famers and 4 championships. So if the Lakers are serious about winning and they're able and they get into a scenario where they gotta unload their stars for something, there's no better way to rebuild this thing than find someone who knows how to draft somebody and develop players. And you have the resources to do that because you have an AD that an Oklahoma City Thunder would give you draft capital for. Because if you put AD on that team with Shea Gilgeous and Chet Holmgren,
Good
you're winning
God.
a championship.
Good God.
You are winning a championship in 2025 if everybody's healthy. I'm just saying, this is the world we're in. This is the world that we're gonna have to talk. This is what we're gonna have to talk about here in the next 4 months. This is the excitement left with this team because right now, whatever's going on the court is pure garbage disposal.
Yep. And that's what we have right now. We're in the malaise. We're in that purgatory where no NBA team wants to be, with right in the middle, with not a great future on the surface, with a team that doesn't have a plethora of draft picks, doesn't have a plethora of huge contracts that are so attractive. People want to go ahead, and other teams want to go ahead and clamor for it. It's the Lakers just do not have an abundance of everything. And of course, that is to be expected, Joe, because you sold your soul for AD in the first place. You sold your soul to get LeBron here and try and create a team for many years around him. And it did work once. You did get the chip out of it. The problem is, as LeBron gets older and older, the less likely a championship will be for this current configuration.
Yeah, we got one. We can hang our hat on that.
Yeah.
And that's it. We got one. LeBron did something that I don't think anybody will ever do again. In terms of, if you want to talk about things that will never be done again, I don't think we'll ever see a player win 3 championships with 3 different teams, winning 3 Finals MVPs in each one of those. I don't think you're ever going to see that. I mean, the only guy that I remember winning 3 was John Sally, but John Sally was a role player when he started, and he was a even bigger role player off the bench when he ended. So I don't really count that. That's just not, they would have won despite him.
What happened to his TV career? Kind of like faded into oblivion.
Well, I think he's, and pardon my ignorance here, but I have listened to some of his interviews, and some of the stuff that he says have been complete hogwash. I don't know if all that weed that he's smoking is melting his brain. I've been around enough people who have been potheads, and most of them have quit smoking because they were in this denial that it was medicine. When I was sitting back telling them, if you guys think this, you're doing this because it's medicine, then you're out of your mind. And of course, at some point, when you're constantly jacking up your brain, whatever you're doing, alcohol or weed or whatever, at some point that's not going to go well. And of course, I think John Sally's there. His eye is always dripping. I don't know what kind of ailment he has. And he's just said some things that were dumb. I think he had commented about the LeBron scoring record. He said he wasn't going to do it. I'm like, he's like 1,000 points away. What do you mean he's not going to do it? Just random things. Like, are you even watching basketball?
It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. But yes, just wanted to go ahead and hear your thoughts on that. And then finally, it was officially made today, the news that Doc Rivers is now the coach of Milwaukee Bucks. And we've already discussed, the similarities between, hiring a brand new coach to a team that has some great expectations and obviously not coming to fruition to the level that it needs to. For a team that's 30-13, the similarities between the Lakers aside, and obviously our thoughts on Darvin Ham aside on that for now. What are your thoughts on Mr. 3-1 Doc Rivers now getting a chance and opportunity to coach once again in Milwaukee?
He's better than Griffin and Ham put together. So it's the right move. Milwaukee has done everything that a team that's trying to win has done. And if I'm talking to Giannis or Damian Lillard, I'm telling them that. This is a small market team, a place where most people don't want to go. You had to get Damian Lillard in a trade to get him there. You had to get lucky and find Giannis at 15 to find this superstar. No one would have gone to Milwaukee willingly. That's a superstar. So, and on top of that, this ownership and this executive, mind you, they did make a mistake hiring Griffin, and we all knew that. Adrian was just not the right guy. I still didn't really understand what that was about. Budenholzer cut his own throat. There was a lot of talk today on talk radio where why the hell did they get rid of this guy if they were just going to hire this guy? Well, I'm like, well, Budenholzer cost the Bucks championships because of his stubbornness. And yeah, they played better defense, but their offense was crap. You were putting, but he made bad decisions. He didn't put Giannis on Jimmy Butler when Jimmy Butler was waxing you guys in the first round. Like, you have a guy who's in his prime who can play all day. Well, use him. This is not a 35-year-old Giannis.
You let Grayson Allen decide your fate against Miami. Grayson Allen.
Stubbornness. These guys are stubborn. Coaches in the NBA, head coaches in the NBA, a lot of them don't make it because it's not just because the ego of the player not wanting them, but they are stubborn as hell. And to me, and to anybody with logic, you can be stubborn, but you better come with the right answer. Pat Riley's stubborn. But he comes with the goods. So if you're gonna be stubborn, make sure you're right. And when you're not right, you have to adapt. Losing in the first round as a 1 seed when you're supposed to be winning a championship is unacceptable. And they made a bad hire. They went the way it went. Now they have Doc Rivers. I believe that he'll garner all the respect that they need for him. And you can cross your fingers and hope that when they are up 3-1 that they can close it out.
Exactly. My Milwaukee's up 3-1. The other team saying we've got them right where we want them. Absolutely. Going to hear that time and time again. I know it's a repeated joke often, but you're going to hear it time and time again. I have a feeling, but it is the Lakers Fast Break. Truly appreciate you joining us. Don't forget, tomorrow we've got wall-to-wall coverage with our pregame. Obviously, what we do as far as during the game with our simulcast on playback.tv, so that's Lakers Fast Break and all of our affiliate channels as well, and the post game coming up after that. And of course, topping your night off with Lakers Nightcap with Joe Soro. That'll be at 11 p.m. tomorrow night. But Joe, again, wanted to give everybody an update. It looks like no Cam Reddish with the ankle that he hurt trying to actually. I was telling that to Darren, and I said that it's on playback. Wouldn't you know, he finally made a good defensive play during the course of that Clippers game, and he ends up rolling his ankle because of it. So he will be out for tomorrow. That's the latest injury news that we have. We don't know for 100% certain for LeBron's status, but any last thoughts, my friend, before we head on out?
It doesn't matter if they win tomorrow or not, honestly. The real test is going to be this Grammy trip. If they come back anything worse than 4-2, it's just not gonna. It's done. I mean, it's done already. It's just it's going to get closer and closer as the weeks go by. We're coming into February and March. February and March are the last 2 months, the full months left, and then you got half of April. If you're going to tell me that they're going to turn a switch and start playing amazing basketball for the last 2.5 months. Okay.
Exactly.
I don't trust this team as far as I can throw them. I hate their
Neither do I.
I hate their leadership from their players. I hate the coaching from the coaches. This is the kind of team that makes me sick to my stomach. I just don't like. I don't like anything they do. I like Anthony Davis playing the way he plays, and there's certain things that certain players like D'Lo and Austin do that I like, but this is a team basketball game, and I'm about the winning, man. And if you're not winning, I get sick of everything.
Well, there's still some Lakers faithful in the audience that still has the belief in the Lakers. And you know what? More props to you, Tyrone. Everyone out there that's has some great thoughts on the Lakers that still believe the Lakers can find the je ne sais quoi that they had during the IST and see if they can use that to propel forward. Adam says that it still makes no sense that the Lakers still have not utilized the same exact lineup that they were progressing with last year. Now that Vando is finally starting to understand what his game is, he's not a three-point shooter. He is inept on offense outside of running to the basket, being at the dunker spot. The thought comes to mind, Joe, that why don't they run back that same lineup? Put Vando in the starting lineup. He's
I
not
think
playing as great a
it
defense
doesn't
as I'd
matter,
like to
Gerald.
see, but
It doesn't
yeah.
matter, Gerald. They could run up the best defensive lineup on the planet, and then they can't score. If they run up the best offensive lineup, then they can't play defense. I told you, for every 100 possessions with Torian Prince, Austin Reeves, and D'Angelo Russell, they're allowing 133.3 points. That is all-time destruction of defense. That is so bad. It reminds me of the Clippers of the 90s minus the Larry Brown years. That's how bad they are.
Yeah.
And Austin Reeves and D'Angelo are your offensive juggernauts minus AD and LeBron. And Torian Prince might be your best set up three-point shooter. But their defense eliminates all the positive that they do. It evens out. It evens out, or it's actually worse. I told you guys, look at it this way. For every 2 points that D'Angelo, Austin, and Torian Prince score, they allow 3. So no matter what, you're allowing one, you're losing that battle every time. You're losing it by 1 point. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what they do on offense. They're giving them that extra point on the other end.
Each and every time out, my friend. I mean, you cannot continue to give up 51% shooting from behind the arc like they did yesterday and think you're going to go ahead and get away with it each and every time out, my friend.
And a lot of that 3-point shooting is a defensive philosophy that isn't working. I think the hard part is the one-on-one containment. That's something you just can't expect Austin Reeves to cover, a Dame Lillard or a James Harden. Okay, let's just say that. But there is no, in my book, there is no defense. There's no player that's playing 5-on-5 basketball that can't at least make it difficult for that 3-point shot to go through. There's no reason for you to not be at them. You know, they're going under screens when they should go over. They're going over screens when they should go under. This is about coaching and fundamentals being taught and practiced. And every player is different in the NBA. So you might want to go over the screen if you're playing a Lillard, because Lillard can shoot from the other side of town. Okay. If you're going to play somebody like Dennis Schroeder, you can go under. He's not going to pull up from 25 and shoot that ball. I mean, do I have to really explain this? Is this I feel stupid having to explain this.
I do want to end the show on a more positive note, and that is D'Angelo Russell. Whether you say he's playing it to stay on the Lakers, whether you say he's playing it for a new contract, the fact is he has improved in the past 2 weeks, Joe, dramatically. To give you an example, remember when he and Austin were like in the very low 30s as far as their overall shooting is concerned? Well, you turn around now and you look at the stats now. D'Angelo Russell is now shooting 41% from behind the arc. He is absolutely on a tear. He has been aggressive, averaging close to 28 points in the past few games. Really doing an outstanding job of asking him what we need done as that third player. Well, of course, when LeBron's there in the lineup. So I have your thoughts on D'Angelo Russell, his improvement over the past few games. Real, not real? Is it playing for a contract or trying to stay on the
It
Lakers?
doesn't. It doesn't matter. It has meant it. It hasn't resulted in any wins, in important wins.
Yeah. Well, it always seems to be something when
That's the
he.
disheartening part about this. Everything we said that would need to happen for this team to win has not happened. AD being available, LeBron not having a major injury this year, D'Angelo being the third guy, all of that has happened, and it meant nothing. It meant nothing. That's the surprise of the year. That's the surprise of the year. Really, for me, that's the part where we totally botched it. There were analysts at the beginning of the year saying the Lakers were going to stink this year, and we were offended, we were insulted, but we were the ones that were wrong. We were the ones that were looking through our Laker Tom purple and gold glasses, wherever the hell Laker Tom is these days.
Hopefully, he'll be back with us this weekend. But
I feel like I hear that every weekend.
he's in the process of moving. I know he's his longtime house. He's talked about. I think he's going to be selling that and moving to a new location here. So I know he's been busy doing that. But it is the Lakers Fast Break. It is Joe Sorrow along with me, Gerald Glassford. Thanks again for watching, listening. Truly appreciate it. Don't forget tomorrow. Wall-to-wall coverage is only we can bring you right here at the Lakers Fast Break. So if you've not yet liked and subscribed, please do so you get those latest notifications on when we go live on the air, because they are separate shows, whether it's the pregame, whether it's our simulcast from playback.tv/Lakers Fast Break, our separate postgame. Nobody does the postgame better than us here at the Lakers Fast Break. And then, of course, capping off your night tomorrow after the Chicago Bulls game at 11 p.m. Pacific time. It is the Lakers Nightcap with Joe Sorrow. Joe, another great show in the books. Your thoughts? How's that Jim Harbaugh thing going around? Man, I tell you what, you win a championship, you're heading back to LA afterwards.
Well, it's good. It's good. I was pretty much 99% sure that he was leaving, and winning the championship in Michigan was a feather he has now in his cap, and LA was the team. I said Jim Harbaugh has to go to LA. The only issue I had was, is Dean Spanos and that group going to screw this up? But they didn't. So I'm assuming they gave him everything he needed. They gave him decision making. They gave him money that he wanted. He's going to be in LA. Good weather, good atmosphere, and most important thing, you have a stud who's about to hit his prime at quarterback. And you know Jim Harbaugh when it comes to quarterbacks. That guy made Alex Smith serviceable, if not for a couple of boneheaded punt return fumbles. The 49ers are in the Super Bowl in 2011. He turned Colin Kaepernick into a almost Super Bowl winning quarterback, which to this day I can't figure out why he went brain dead on that last drive at the 8-yard line. You had Frank Gore running over everyone, and Ravens were visibly tired, and you had Colin Kaepernick. All you had to do was run some options and use that, and they didn't. They did 2 fades, which is the one play in football that I want to choke coaches when they use it. And Now he's got full autonomy to run this thing and go after a championship, and he's got the tools to do it. He's got a running back, he's got receivers, he's got a solid defense. If they have a good draft this summer, this spring, watch out for the LA Chargers. I just wish they were in San Diego. That would have been fun to have them there. But watch out for them. If they have a good draft, watch out. Don't be surprised if those guys end up in the AFC Championship game next year.
We'll see what happens, but the transfer portal may get wide open once again in Michigan, but we'll see.
Well, I find it funny that a weasel like Deion Sanders is starting to crap on Nick Saban. I think that's kind of funny. I was waiting for that too. I was waiting for that clown to, and I love.
Didn't they do a commercial together?
I loved Deion as a player. I love the fact that he played baseball and football, but this whole thing with the coaching thing going on, this charade, this circus that he's created. If anybody criticizes Nick Saban, you're a clown to me. Nick Saban is the greatest college football coach that ever lived, and the man is 72 years old. If you want to blame it on the NIL, maybe there's some truth to that. But to say that he was afraid and that he couldn't adapt, I'm going to wait to see if this. I want to wait and see if this clown will win. Now, I want to see if his genius will win. You know what's going to happen, Gerald? The second he gets a better deal, he'll leave Colorado like he leaves every other team he's ever been.
I agree. Okay. I agree with you. Where was Saban's team? Saban's team was playing for a national championship in the Final Four. Where was Deion Sanders' team in Colorado?
Deion Sanders was living off the first two games he won at the beginning of the year, and so was everyone else. Everyone was calling me a hater at the beginning of the year too. I'm like, what are you guys getting excited for? You have to win. Winning a couple of regular season games and being boisterous, that doesn't last. Stoic. Somebody who's stoic and focused are the guys that win. Chuck Noll, Nick Saban, Bill Belichick. Those are the type of guys that are legends. Those are the guys that win for a long time. Tom Osborne, Bear Bryant, stoic, consistent, greatness. Deion was great as a player. Everything else, he's just a circus act. He's a circus act. So until you win 7 national championships, then maybe you can start talking about why people are retiring and why they're afraid. Come on, give me a break.
Once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. We'll be back tomorrow for our wall-to-wall coverage for you against the Chicago Bulls as the Lakers win their final home game for a little bit. Again, we did not take advantage of the home games that were given to us and the easier schedule that was given to us this month, and we're going to be paying the price for it as we head out on the Grammy trip soon after. But any last thoughts, my friend, before we head on out?
No.
All right. Well, that'll do it for us here at the Lakers Fast Break. For everyone out there that has been a part of what we're doing, thank you so much for doing so. Big shout out to Xbox and also, of course, Darren, for your super chats. It is most definitely appreciated. Very kind indeed. Cannot thank you enough. We are truly grateful to provide the therapy for you each and every time out. I'm glad you appreciate that we call it like it is, we see it like it is, and we try to give it to you as real as we can here at the Lakers Fast Break. So for Joe Sorrow, it's Gerald Glassford. Thanks again for watching, listening. Truly appreciated. It is going to be tomorrow, the Lakers and Bulls. Will it be in the final home game of the month? A good one for the Lakers. We'll find out if they can get back to 500. I almost hear Magic Man singing, hello, my old friend. Back to 500 once again, just right there, singing that in the back of my head. But yes, we will see if the Lakers can get back to 500 again tomorrow, right here on the Lakers Fast Break podcast. Coming up for you right now. Thanks so much again. Truly appreciate it, and have a great evening, one.